Good morning, everyone. A beautiful day today. It's going to get up to 29 degrees. I think it's a great day for a swim. I think some people might agree with me there, right? We are coming to the end of the second strategy of the Virtues program, Virtues Project, which is speaking the language of the virtues. The first one was teachable moments, and this one is speaking the language of the virtues, and we're coming to this will be the last section on this, and then we'll be moving into strategy 3, which is setting clear boundaries in your home. That one, of course, is I find very interesting as well. So I'm Bob Jackman. I'm the teacher, virtues facilitator at the Charles J. Andrew Youth and Family Treatment Center in Sheshatshiu. 42 days now without a coronavirus. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so this section is name the act, not the actor. Name what the child is doing and focus on that, not the child, in terms of the teachable moment. Whether it is a teachable moment in which you are naming something positive you see, or calling a child to a virtue they are forgetting, it is essential to preserve self-esteem. The way to do this is to name the act and not the actor. Here's some examples now of inappropriate virtues acknowledgments. Okay, you're so responsible. Think about that. The child thinks, I am? I wasn't very responsible yesterday. I wasn't very responsible this morning. How am I responsible? Here's another one that's inappropriate. You're a kind person. And the child thinks, gee, I wasn't very kind to my sister. I wasn't very kind to my neighbor yesterday. And so the kid knows, right? They're not stupid. Another inappropriate one. You're always serving other people. Well, I didn't serve Aunt Mary yesterday, and so these are the things that pops into the kid's mind. Another one that's inappropriate. You're mommy's little helper. You're a good boy. I am. I can think of lots of examples where I wasn't a good boy, and so here's examples of appropriate virtues acknowledgments. These are the kinds of the ways that you want to do it. Okay. You're being so responsible to make your own bed. Oh, yeah, I am, making your own bed. So he knows why. It's specific. That was a kind thing to do. So you're focusing on the kind thing that he did. How gentle you are being with the baby. I respect the way you serve others. Thank you for being so helpful this morning. Making the lunches made a big difference in getting us all ready on time. Another one. I honor you for your courage to go to the bus by yourself. So when you're acknowledging a child, say what you're acknowledging them for. Here's examples of shaming virtues. You never play peacefully. Well, yes, I do. But you're putting the child down, right? Why can't you remember to be courteous? See how you're focusing on the child? I wish you had some self-discipline. And here's examples of empowering virtues corrections. Please play peacefully now, focusing on the play. What would help you to be peaceful with your anger? You can be courteous. Please try harder. There's another one. It takes a lot of self-discipline to do homework, doesn't it? You may not be unkind to your sister. So you can see how they're empowering. That was a kind thing to do is a far kinder way to acknowledge a child than to say, you're so kind, which labels him and gives him a queasy feeling about accepting unjust or exaggerated praise because he knows the difference, right? In the general scheme, he knows the difference. You forgot to be kind is a kinder way to correct an unkind act than to label a child with a phrase such as, how could you be so mean? Make specific positive requests. Addressing specific behavior with the virtues enables children to see themselves in process rather than stuck with some trait they sense pleases other people. So be kind for the sake of being kind and doing kind things, rather than mom's around, I better be kind because she loves it when I'm kind. And when she's not around, then I don't have to be kind, right? So you want the child to develop this self-esteem inside and the self-discipline inside so that they're doing it for the sake of doing it and not for someone else, especially someone else in authority, you know. The goal of virtues acknowledgments and corrections is to build character, to awaken and strengthen the child's innate virtues, not to reinforce people-pleasing. So the innate virtues, so they're in us already, and we want to foster them. We want to bring them out. We want to awaken and strengthen them. Having said that, it is precisely the pleasure of the parent that is the major reinforcer for a child's behavior. So feel free to let your pleasure show as you respectfully acknowledge the qualities you see emerging in your child. Respectfully acknowledge the qualities you see emerging in your child. Love that. So the last little piece here is on being specific and being accurate. The most powerful virtues acknowledgement is one which is focused on a virtue which accurately reflects the core issue, the meaning of what the child is doing or needs to be doing. I honor you for your courage. You could say when a child is attempting to do something scary, like going to school for the first time, is much more powerful than, I honor you for your caring, which isn't what the teachable moment is about in that case. In the face of fear, virtues such as courage or confidence or determination are what we need to lean on. Those are the spiritual lessons involved. By asking yourself, what is the lesson here? You will be able to identify the virtues relevant to a given teachable moment. Any good teacher has the respect of her students, and there is a gentle, reliable order maintained in the classroom. Parents serving as the first educators also need to create an environment which is based on gentleness, respect, and order. So that's the finish of the section on speaking the language of the virtues. Now, of course, if we were sitting around a circle or in a classroom, we would have had a lot more discussion. You would have had lots of examples to bring forward, and you can see how very interesting and learning that it can be if we're together in discussion. So I picked a virtue for today, and it's the virtue of peacefulness. Now there's a little phone right here that's sitting on the table, and I think it picks up my voice, and then Siri comes on and says, what can I help you with? So I'll try to put that aside there and hope it doesn't pick up my voice like that anymore. It happened the last time too, so it's becoming a habit with that phone. I'll have to give it away. Peacefulness. Here's the quote from Matthew 5, chapter 5, section 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. So what is peacefulness? And you know, it's what we're looking for in our families for sure, right? And in our neighborhoods and all across the world, we're looking for peacefulness. Peacefulness is an inner sense of calm that can come in moments of silent gratitude or prayer. It is a way of becoming very quiet and looking at things so you can understand them. It is facing your fears and then letting them go. It is trusting that things will be all right. Peacefulness is giving up the love of power for the power of love. It is practicing justice, which means to be fair to yourself and others. That was our last virtue. Peacefulness is a way of approaching conflict with others so no one is made wrong. Everyone wins because you work to find a peaceful solution. Peace comes when you give up violence, prejudice, and thinking of others as enemies. I was listening to the radio there, it was yesterday morning, the morning before, and they were talking about, racism and bullying and that kind of thing. And there was a little boy that was quoted there, and a little boy was said to have said, "Bullies need to be loved." And I'm thinking, remember what Jesus said in the Bible? We need to love our enemies. Hard to do, but it's love that breaks down anger. It's love that breaks down the enemy in people. Once they see how peaceful you are and how loving you are and how kind you are and how you practice your virtues, it tends to break down the bully as well, But it's not an easy thing to do. But even Jesus said we should do it, right? Peacefulness comes from an awareness that all human beings are part of one human family. Peace in the world begins with peace in your heart and peace in your interactions with others. Peace in the world begins with you, right in your heart. And then with your family, with your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. And then that radiates through to your community. So why should we bother to practice peacefulness? I think every one of you would have comments on that one. Here's why. A peaceful heart is one which is free of trouble or worry. It allows you to trust. It is a quieting of your spirit, a willingness to enter your own inner stillness. Without peacefulness, you feel that you have to control everyone and everything. World peace is not only something that governments can create while all of us sit there. It's not something that governments can create while all of us sit there waiting for them to do it. People make peace in their homes and schools and workplaces. And as we said, it begins in your heart. Let's not sit back and bicker and fight and wait for the government to fix it all, right? It starts with us. Peacefulness allows us to remain free of violence, free from prejudice, safe from injustice. When each of us is peaceful, all those who come in contact with us feel loved, respected, and treated fairly. Differences are seen as benefits rather than reasons to fight. The peace in our lives leads to peace in the world. When are we going to learn that, I wonder? Differences are seen as benefits rather than reasons to fight. It's amazing. Without peacefulness, we see differences as a threat to who and what we are. We judge others by what we have heard rather than by what we know, and look out for ourselves first, even if others are hurt in the process. Without peace, no one is safe. When there is violence, injustice, prejudice, or inequality, there is always fear and resentment. This can happen in a family or between nations. It leads to fights and wars, and no one ever really wins a war. So how do you practice peacefulness? To be peaceful inside, become very still so that you can reflect, meditate, or pray. So become very still inside. When you do this every day, you become more and more peaceful. To be a peacemaker, use peaceful language. Instead of saying, "I hate," calling people names, backbiting, or criticizing, use moderate language, even when you're angry. Talk about your anger. It makes me angry when you come in my room without knocking. Speak softly and gently. Harm no one. Avoid hitting other kinds of violence. Never, ever use weapons. When you practice peacefulness, if you have a disagreement with someone, instead of attacking, make each other wrong, or use violent speech or actions, look for a peaceful solution. You can solve the problem so that both of you win. There are always lots of creative ways any problem can be solved. Violence never solves anything. Look for the good in others. If something they do hurts or annoys you, forgive them right away. If they are violating your rights, stop them by reasonable, non-violent means. Stand up for yourself and others. Appreciate differences instead of making them a cause for prejudice or fighting. Hate has caused a lot of problems in the world, but it's never solved one. I can't remember who said that, but I like it. So congratulations. You're practicing peacefulness when you create inner peace with a regular time to pray or meditate. When you give your worries to God and ask God's help in solving them. When you use peaceful language, even when you're angry, speak softly and gently. Avoid harming anyone. When you disagree, find a peaceful solution. Appreciate differences. Give up the love of power for the power of love. And here's the affirmation. I use peaceful language and I find peaceful solutions to any problem that arises. I find my inner peace and let it carry me gently through the day. So, the virtue of peacefulness. Once we practice that, of course, in our family, then I think it's an automatic thing that the virtues start to show, right? Because you're showing more kindness, more courtesy, more respect, and so on and so on, right? So that's why, again, the virtues are amazing. So a quote here. I found a few little quotes. Let's see what you think of these. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. And Carl Jung. So when you get irritated, see if you can learn something about yourself when someone is irritating you. Maybe it's a test of patience, wouldn't it? Have calm thoughts. Have calm thoughts. Picture calm scenes. Recall calm sounds. And guess what you'll be feeling? Peacefulness. Things to think about or discuss in your family. What can people like you and me do to create peace in the world? I think we already answered that one. What can people like you and me do to create peace in the world? What is it that gives you a sense of peace? Name 3 things you can do if you see fighting starting. Name 3 things you could do if you see a fight starting. Think about that. What would you do? I have to think about what I would do, right? So I talked about meditation. I talked about prayer, and calm thoughts. Well, this little quote here from the Sacred Moments, it's a prayer. It comes from Abdu'l-Baha. He says, "O God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart. Illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hand." So that's how we'll end today, with that little prayer. So I guess I could say, peace to you. Yes, let's think about our families, think about ourselves, of course, and see how it is that we're practicing peace and how we might be able to increase that particular virtue in ourselves, in our families, maybe even in our communities when you're walking down the road. Maybe you can say hello to somebody that you didn't say hello to before, you know. But give it some thought, and I hope you enjoyed that virtue today. And I'll see you again on Monday. At this point, I'm not absolutely sure what time, but I'll certainly be letting you know when I'm going to be live, okay? So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Stay away from that virus. And I hope nobody in Newfoundland and Labrador gets the virus anymore. That's it. We want that finished, right? So until Monday, we'll see you then. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.